one of the biggest environmental issues in Florida is obviously we're a peninsula, so we're very low. I mean, you want to talk about. We don't have to get too deep into the weeds with what happened in Surfside, but that's just one of many circumstances because of sea level rise and the issue with climate change that is now starting to get to the surface, and the average dupe, if you will, is starting to see it, because most people don't care unless they can feel it, they can see it, and they can touch it. So now it's becoming a really, really serious problem. Now, Texas is a very interesting state because I believe you're one of the leaders, if not the leader, in wind energy, which is amazing. But you're still, way up there when it comes to obviously fossil fuels, specifically fracking. I'm curious as to what the environmental movement looks like in Texas, how serious that is, and if that's also something that's being incorporated into Ground Game Texas.
Right. Well, I'll jump in on this. I mean, Julie was running on Medicare for All, and I was running on the Green New Deal. I mean, we both supported both issues, but the district I ran in for Congress, it was like there's a coal plant, this 40-year-old coal plant that's killing 12 surrounding counties, and the district I ran in touched Houston, and obviously epicenter of the international petroleum industry. And there is a strong environmental movement in Texas. I mean, there's Sierra Club, there's 350. There's a lot of like Sunrise chapters that I've been really engaged with. There are these other organizations that have been active, but obviously they're not in power. And labor, I think, is the key to this. I mean, we don't have a very strong labor movement in Texas because of right to work.
Same.
But we do have a strong, it's not as strong as it could be, but we have a powerful set of labor organizations, the Texas AFL-CIO. Now, half of those labor organizations on average statewide are a fossil fuel, building trades unions and fossil fuel related industries. And so that's the key. And that's one of the like my pet projects, or like my passion projects, I should say, is like, how can we get labor on board with the idea of a just transition, the idea that we're going to create the jobs, because we know folks are going to lose jobs if we close the coal plants, close the gas plants, and so forth. But the federal government should be guaranteeing these folks, their future employment, their future income, to make sure that workers are not suffering for these macroeconomic changes and energy changes that we need. And to me, I would love to do that. I think we do have opportunities. Right now, Julie and I are working in different cities that are exploring this ARPA money, the federal relief money that's come down. Could that be used to fund a just transition? Like, I'm talking to these, I call them kids, the Sunrise activists. They're not all, teenagers, but
I call them kids too. They are kids.
That is the best national organization that I've seen in the country.
I love these folks so much. I mean, they are strategic, they're hardworking, they're smart, they're dedicated.
And they get their candidates across the finish line. They probably made the difference for Cori Bush at the 11 o'clock hour.
Oh, exactly.
There's no question that what they are doing is absolutely incredible. And Mike, you really hit it on the head. I would definitely, we have universally agreed that probably the biggest roadblock that Jen had to face against Wasserman Schultz was the head of the Broward County AFL-CIO. His name is Dan Reynolds. He's been at it probably as long as she's been at it, which is 30 years, which is, again, a lifetime in many ways. I do think that a non-corporate, even to some degree, nonpartisan labor movement is the future. Yeah. That is where you're going to get the most amount of people who are going to say, I do agree with the universal health care, because unions have to negotiate health care to begin with, and that would save them a lot of money, increase salary. And of course, people believe in a living wage. And then as it relates to the Green New Deal, it's a jobs program. It's a clean energy jobs program. And if there's a state that loves to brag about how they are the #1 state for jobs in America, it is the Lone Star State. They absolutely want to be #1 in that category by any means necessary, which is why I think a lot of the communities, like I've read some very conservative communities. I don't remember where, maybe you guys could remind me of the name, but there's a very conservative community in Central Texas that basically runs its entire community on renewable energy.
Georgetown.
Yeah.
There you go. What a perfect name too,
Well, okay, so I want to remind people too, and I've put my little handy dandy like notepad that I take important notes on and I don't throw away. This really is a workers' justice issue. If you look at the CEO compensation of the oil and gas, just CEO, we're not talking CFO, we're not talking about vice presidents, just the CEO. A daily compensation for the CEO of ExxonMobil, who made the news recently, $64,000 every day, just the CEO, $64,000 every day of the year, 365 days. That means he makes $64,000 on Monday, and he makes $64,000 on Tuesday, and he makes my God, if you talk about Kinder Morgan is really big in Texas because they're just plowing through, people's ranch lands, through communities because they, straight line connects 2 points. And they don't want to go around like, rivers or anything, historic landmarks, anything. They want to do a straight line. So they're just plowing through tons of property in Texas. Mr. Kinder made over $1 billion in stock gains. And he was a former Enron employee. ConocoPhillips, $82,000 a day, CEO. There's not, any worker that makes even a fraction of that salary or compensation. It's ridiculous. And
how do these people not have guillotines being built in front of their houses on a regular basis? I really don't understand it. I think it's like it's not even a secret where people live. I don't understand how people come and go in peace on a regular basis, because they're not going to be able to build moats wide enough. I'm sorry, but this is just out of control.
Well, my understanding is that the neighborhood that the richest of the rich in Texas live in, which is in North Dallas, where Kelsey Warren lives, where Mark Cuban lives, I forgot the name of the town, but you have to see how high these homes go on the hill, where basically it's like a fortress. Like you said, are they going to build the moats wide enough to protect their property?
No,
because that's kind of what they're doing.
Well, ultimately, the real thing, and I've always thought this, we are one smart hacker away from somebody taking the money from the rich and giving it to the poor. And that's how it's going to be. I think it'll be cyber. I don't think it'll actually be like a physical. Although that too, because people are getting desperate and angry.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.